everybody else was going out and getting jobs, like bagging groceries and stuff. And I said, shit, that ain't no fun.
No.
So I decided I was passing by the radio station, and I just stopped in there and said, can I see Tom? And they said, yeah. And I just went back there, and Tom's back there, and you know how Tom was. And Tom was just like, he'd talk to you, and he'd look around the room, and then he'd look at you, like that. And I said, I'd like to get in. I told him, about the stream of education, which he didn't care about that. He could give beans about it.
Right.
But he said, well, yeah, I can give you a job. And so they put me in. They had a thing called Teen Tune Time.
Teen Tune Time. And what year was this?
That was 68.
Really?
Wow. I'm an old fart, man. Jeez. I mean, you guys got to give me credit for that.
Well, you keeping it young.
And, I'm trying.
Funny story, I worked at TOE in 88.
In 88?
88, yeah. 88, or was 80, maybe into 88, very into 88.
Uh-huh.
Of course, that's when Jack Dobson owned it at that point.
Right.
And Bruce was the station manager.
Yeah, I love Bruce.
And
man.
then Jack just sold it when I had started, or either right as I started.
You sell it to Ardell?
To Ardell, Mountain Valley Media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I worked for Ardell. Hell, I worked for everybody. I worked at BRM in Marion. We broadcast rotten music. Well, it was.
Does Ardell still own it, or who?
So Ardell passed away, and his wife Ramel still owns it. So KYK, the Sink family, and I'm sure their son will persist, but they own it in KYK, and they one time they had some newspapers and things as well. I don't remember now.
Down in state.
Downstate, that's right. And Mountain Valley Media was their company. I actually got fired from WTOE. So
yeah. Bruce fired you?
No, Ramel fired me.
Oh, you were working at TOE after they took it over.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, come on, spill the
okay,
tea.
come on. Why did Ramel fire you?
I played.
There it is. There it is. Yeah, that's it.
I played Jane's Addiction over the top of the Apostolic Assembly of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ broadcast. Unintentionally, I didn't mean to do it. It wasn't malicious. I put on the broadcast from the church, and in cue, I thought I was just listening to my music in the headphones, and I was just listening to it, cue, just jamming. I knew you had like an hour once you put those in to wait, because that was the greatest thing about working Sunday, because you put on the religious broadcast.
Oh yeah,
and then you just sat there and.
You can do what you wanted to, man.
Wait a minute. And then I was like, I woke up and I saw the yellow light flash and the phone was ringing. I'm like, is this not supposed to be the Apostolic Assembly hour? And I was like, it is. And they're like, well, that's not what's on. And I was like, oops.
Oh, it wasn't on cue.
It was not. It was not. So they unfortunately were it was justifiable. They did the right thing. I actually should have been fired.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, I really didn't. Never would have. To offend someone.
Oh no! I mean, it's Sunday morning.
But make mistakes, especially when you're out all night Saturday night, and I don't think I slept as a kid, So
none of us did then, man. I used to like to. We had at the studio there on Chalk Mountain. We had a little bench out there over to the side next to the control room, and sometimes Tom wasn't listening. You could kind of tell if he was. I don't know. There was an aura.
There's a vibe you could feel when they weren't listening.
Yeah,
no, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So I'd put on Inagata DeVita.
Go outside for 20 minutes.
I'd go out there and pop me a cold one, man. You're not supposed to drink on the air, kids. We did radio the old-fashioned way. Drunk.
What was your format back then? What was it?
It was a block format. We had that, like I say, we had that Teen Tune Time thing.
Yeah.
And then we had lamplighting time in the valley. That was mellow. Mm-hmm. And you could get by with playing some mellow, some real easy Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young or something like that. Mm-hmm. But that was supposed to be the lamplighting time in the valley, and that went to sign off.
Ah.
And I tell you a good one. Did you ever work with Arnold Buchanan, Rick Stevens?
I didn't. I know who you're talking about. I worked with Greg Ledford, David Biddix, Miss Willis, Worm's widow, and of course Bruce.
Yeah.
and myself, and there was this guy from Marion, David Dorr, who would come up. And I worked with Brett Bullis for a few moments before I left. Brett was
Arnold was his air name was Rick Stevens.
Yeah, I remember.
And he and this is this is true. He, when they had the obituaries and the obituary music comes in, and it was brought to you by Funeral Home, and so there was nothing there. Rick gets on there after the music plays for a little bit, and he pots the music down a little bit, and he says, "We regret to inform you there are no obituaries today."
Oh, hell, no one died.
Like everybody nearly shit, man. It was just like, what?
It's so funny. I did a fake obituary once, just made up, just complete random, and there was like 40 surviving like children. It was like I just
went on for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I just went on and on because we had one obituary, so I read that one, and I just kept reading names. I typed out this whole thing. No one noticed.
Read the book of Deuteronomy.
Yeah, I just picked like I can't remember.
He begat him.
I'm pretty sure I just picked a name Burleson. So if you were listed like 40 of them, everybody like, oh, that makes sense. I think I knew Latrell Burleson.
Did Uncle Phil
Beaver Creek?
That was the urban side of the family.
Exactly.
They lived in Charlotte.
They did.
Latron.
Oh my God. Our format was Mac 40 mainly adult contemporary, and then kind of going towards the golden oldies, and then we also had the gospel hymn time.
Yeah.
At that point in time, and I remember patching. You probably do too, because I know you did the same thing. Patching in the feeds for the ball games back in the back, and powering down the antenna.
Yeah.
Which I forgot to do often. And 1470 out of Virginia would call me, and they say, you forgot to power down your antenna because it was knocking them off. And they would call the station and say, hey, you need to power down. Like, oh, okay. Oops.
So here's something. Educate me, because I'm not. I got into radio, honestly, into AM talk radio.
Yeah.
When I was in college at UNCA in like 2004. I learned a lot about, WWNC is like a heritage radio station, like a classic heritage radio station. So what's the whole, explain to me the concept about, because I know the federal government regulates all, like the FCC regulates all that.
Well, they deregulated it though.
Oh, they did?
We had to get licenses back.
Man, well, you had to get a third class license.
That's right.
In order to even do anything, in order to take transmitter readings. And you had to go to Atlanta. I had to go to Atlanta to get a third-class license. And then somewhere along the line, that just kind of disappeared.
I think I had to go to, I can't remember if it's Hickory or Charlotte. I still had to go apply for mine, take the test. And I started down the ham route, and I got a driver's license, and that just went out the window.
So has the FCC completely deregulated AM radio? So you can just...
Okay,
the wild west
it's all about power and coverage. So now, and I can tell you the bands because I've looked them up recently because I want to do a radio station. You can do an FM band, AM band up to 1 mile, completely unregulated. You can put a tower up and broadcast it for 1 mile.
Yeah,
1 mile is the limitation. Once you go beyond that, then you do have to apply, and then there's steps after that.
Right.
But if you think about 1 mile, if someone rented space in, like, let's say, downtown Spruce Pine upstairs in any upper street building,
you
put an antenna up, you would cover a mile. Goes a long ways from down there.
You'd cover almost everything you needed to cover, actually.
Well, that's all of town.
You could cover all the downtown with a dedicated radio station for the town.
Well, I was under the impression that there was like an FM frequency available around here.
There's 3 that are available here right now. So there's a website. I think it's actually, I think it is the FCC's website, but you can put in an exact address, and they will tell you the frequencies that are available.
Oh, really?
Everywhere around you.
Hollercast radio.
Absolutely.
I think I go for it. Yeah, I vote for it. Can I be on it?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
you can. That's why we brought you here.
You know what?
We got staff at 24/7 too.
Yep.
playing
for
those
free.
ridiculous.
Hell, that's what I do anyways, 24/7. So, you know.
So
Jeez.
why don't you, while we're talking about radio, why don't you tell us about your radio station?
Yes.
Why, and what? Just tell us all about it. Whatever.
Well, a good question is why I don't.
Why not?
Hey, listen, man. I was telling Josh. I said, you guys on this show, you've had senators, you've had prominent physicians, you've had public servants, and now here I am. Now, what the hell were you guys thinking anyway?
Dude, honestly, we're so sick and damn tired of talking about politics.
We are.
I told you this. I'm like, we need a palate cleanser, big time.
Well, okay. Anyway, back to I digress.
It's all good.
I was just, I retired, and I got tired of just sitting around.
Gotcha.
And, I dabbled in, I built some choppers, and I dabbled in a few different things, and I said, and then I found this streaming radio stuff. Mm-hmm. So I said, well, damn, man, this ought to be fun. And so I started doing it. And initially, I was doing a morning show, but it was just too much work for too little return.
And there's that keyword morning.
Yeah. Well, I was always a morning show.
Yeah.
So what we do, and the station is the flagship station of the Hemp Network.
Yes.
Now,
there you go.
Now let us.
Now, why are you promoting drugs? Sorry, I had to.
I'm not promoting drugs. I'm promoting hemp.
I'm promoting drugs.
And hemp is a different animal from marijuana, and due to the Agricultural Improvement Act of 2018, they made it legal to extract tetracannabinols from the hemp leaf, and so that's where the CBD and stuff comes from. Now, when it's legal, I will turn into the flagship station for the marijuana.
And I think it's coming before too long.
I think
do.
so, too.
I think it's coming.
The Cherokee on the reservation.
Yes.
they got it cooking over
Already,
there. Yeah.
already, big time.
And so, I don't know anything about this stuff myself, but needless to say, I stick with this.
Yeah.
This is, so I do. What I do is basically classic rock, some deep, do some deep cuts and stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of drop ins, just goofy stuff like, this lady, she says, I'm a mother, an attorney, and a patriot. And I listen to Mountain Man Radio.
Hell yeah.
And if you don't like that, you can kiss my fat, pasty ass.
There you go. Let's go. Let's go.
And so,
That's brilliant, actually.
and so I drop in little things like that here and there, and it seems to work. It doesn't sound like somebody. I don't think it sounds like somebody doing a radio station from their studio at Stately Mountain Manor.
Sure.
It just.
Well, let's get real. Nobody wants that anyway.
Well,
everybody wants to be real.
I do all the playlists. Every playlist is done by me. Sorry, my apologies to some music lovers, I suppose. And so there's no satellite stuff. There's no, if somebody wants to hear something, 828-284-9302.
Oh, and we'll post all this down below. So.
Yeah, we definitely put that in the comments for sure.
And so
I'll do that right now.
So I just I just got started on it, and it's a lot of fun. It can be a pain in the ass sometimes.
Sure.
But I just enjoy it, and I've got listeners. I was telling Josh, got listeners in Ecuador.
Wow.
I don't know. I don't even know what we were discussing. What language they speak? I don't even know.
Is it Portuguese or Spanish or
Ecuadorian? I think
Ecuadorian.
Ecuadorian. It's a mix of the two.
Okay.
Maybe
And,
I don't know.
But I don't know. And got audience in Florida and Port St. Lucie.
That's interesting.
Got Raleigh, Columbia, South Carolina, Pleasure Island, which I just got that. I'd been spending a lot of time down there. Matter of fact, I just got through. I had a kind of a serious surfing accident.
Really?
And I'm just getting over that.
Oh man, that's not good.
It was pretty rough. I think I was out. It took them 3 hours to get that starfish out of my ass.
That will happen. God, I hate it when them starfish crawl up your ass.
Yeah, and
That's a hang 5, not a hang 10.
it's a hang. Oh, jeez. But and we got a lot
Chocolate
of listeners
starfish.
all over the place, and I tell you something, and this is, I don't mean to, well, I guess I'm just, facts for facts. I got more listeners outside of the market here than I do in the market. I don't understand that.
How crazy is it, though? I mean, that's the power of the internet.
It's unreal the reach you can get. You know, I think it's funny, and I believe you appreciate this, that once you're a DJ, I don't care if it's like for 5 minutes, a month, a year.
Oh, you're hooked.
You're a DJ forever.
Yeah.
I still, to this day, DJ parties and weddings, and
Well, it beats the hell
I
out of
can't
having.
stop.
It beats the hell out of getting a job.
Oh, it absolutely
I
does.
mean, you know,
It absolutely
that's what
does.
I figured, man. After I got out of high school, I said, well, this is a pretty keen gig here.
I hate to
I'll just keep doing this.
interrupt here real quick, but there seems to be like a tea kettle whistling sound. I don't know where that's coming from.
Is it me?
Yeah, I heard it too. That's why I turned around. I don't know. It just started out of nowhere.
No?
It says damn aliens on the table.
I'm telling you, dude, it's that quartz in the ground up here in these mountains,
is.
dude. It just comes from
Well,
nowhere.
it could be my spinal stimulator.
Yeah. That's the Holy Ghost. That's what we used to call it. The Holy Ghost talking.
It's all right. I don't think it's interference from a phone.
Yeah, I don't think it is. That doesn't sound like
Well,
any
I've got-
interference I've ever heard.
You want me to move my phone?
No,
Nah, you're
not,
good,
It's
dude.
not a phone. This is
You want to
totally
move that light? I think he's
I
fighting
think-
with that light over there, too.
I think they're listening in on us as well.
Yeah, that's what they are.
Hey, listen, when I first started, and I was doing a lot of political stuff. I was
There you
a lot of stuff about Hunter and all that. And I had like for a week, I had, because I've got like a map up here that I can see. You know, I can it's got little pinpoints of where people are listening. Arlington, Virginia, D.C., Arlington, Virginia.
Interesting.
Constantly, and I mean 24 hours.
Really?
24 hours a day, 7 days a week for a week. And,
Feds be a coming.
That doesn't surprise me whatsoever.
I'm sitting there saying, well, why is this black Suburban pulling up in my driveway?
Hey,
I-
boys, you want a drink?
Have I offended someone? Come on in and we'll have a blunt. Okay?
So Mountain Man, I'm curious. Some background. Where are you from? Born and raised, all that good stuff. What's the backstory of the Mountain Man?
I am from here.
That's what I thought.
I was born here. My family had part of a theme park in Mayhew Valley called Ghost Town.
Oh, really?
And I grew up in the
I was hoping
summertime.
you bring that up.
I grew up in the summertime at Ghost Town. And I grew up. It was a lot of fun because I grew up in a western town. You know?
Oh, yeah.
But some of my friends throughout the years, Ken Weatherwax that played Pugsley on the Addams Family.
Really?
Yeah. And John Provost that was Timmy on Lassie.
I knew
Yeah.
that.
I thought you were going to say Timmy on South Park.
And gosh, just all kinds of people. Burt Reynolds. And it was just a really neat way to grow up. And then whenever in the winter we came back here and I went to school out here. I went to school at East Yancey
Okay.
in Burnsville, but I spent all my time in Spruce Pine.
Gotcha.
And
You were one of us cool kids.
that's I could walk down the halls at Harris High and not get beat up.
There you go. There you go.
But I don't know why. And
I still get beat up today.
I was going to say,
That's wild.
I could walk down the halls and definitely get beat up.
They're like, who are you? Why are you here? I'm like, stop hitting me.
and so that all led up to the going in and talking to Tom Cooper and getting in radio. And then from there, I worked at probably every radio station around here. I worked in the New York market, the LA market, Dallas Fort Worth, and then I worked in some real, who was it called country shitholes. There are some cities in our country, well, I'll just be honest about it. Youngstown, Ohio.
Oh, God.
Was absolutely the worst. And I got a little tip for the FBI, too. If they want to know where all the mob is, they all moved to Youngstown.
They did.
So,
Makes sense.
In case you guys aren't aware of that, they're in Youngstown.
I will say that the AM radio market is the most cutthroat industry I've ever worked in my entire life.
Man.
I have never worked in a more vicious industry than AM radio.
Oh.
Like get in your car and be choked by a piano.
Well,
bar,
they'll do
that
anything
kind of
to
thing.
sabotage you, set you up, make you play Jane's Addiction over a church. I mean, there's so much that happens.
It was a plot.
It was all a
plot.
plot. The damn Jimmy Henshaw. He's got to go.
Sabotage.
Somebody wanted my shifts, man. They wanted that Sunday morning.
You had thought they would have played Sabotage by the Beastie Boys.
Yeah, exactly. It's just the only way you can make money as a DJ. There's a couple ways. Live remotes, if you get good enough to get a following to where you can get paid to do like live remotes, or if you sell your own advertising for your show, and you can negotiate a cut of that. Otherwise, you're making a terrible wage for what's really a high demand job, because every 2.5 minutes it's a repetitive task. It's just like manufacturing, but with your voice.
Right.
It's really demanding. And these little things like, human bodily functions, you're just stuck. You got to figure it out. Thus, In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida or Stairway to Heaven.
Stairway to Heaven.
There's a lady down there. We know what Jimmy's doing.
Play the end.
This is the third time.
Yeah.
The third time he's played that in this week.
Yeah, he must have a stomach ache today. His stomach's really tore up.
Diarrhea. But it's a real cutthroat. Now, whenever I got into it, FM was a little bit different.
It is.
And whenever you were doing morning shows in FM, if you pulled the numbers in, you were locked in pretty well.
Yeah.
However, once you got up there at the top, there wasn't no place to go but back down.
Sure.
And so whenever you started going back down, then they were starting to look for other talent.
Then came in Youngstown, Ohio, the country shithole. That's where you went to die.
That's whenever I ended. That's where old DJs go to die.
Right,
Man, is Youngstown, Ohio. And I hope you don't have any audience in Youngstown, because some of those guys are some pretty badasses.
Yeah.
No kidding.
I do consider Ohio like base America. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's not really Midwest. It's not really East Coast. It's definitely not West Coast.
The
It's
South
just
doesn't
like,
want it, and the North won't claim it.
yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
really.
It's just base America.
Well-
it's like, okay.
And then Trenton, New Jersey was a good place too. I went to we had a restaurant. We had a restaurant that advertised with us. And now this was creepy, and it didn't really occur to me until after we'd been in there and left. But we go to this restaurant, real nice restaurant, linen tablecloths, linen napkins, and everything, and there was nobody in there except back in the back. And there was some guy sitting back. This is no shit, man. There's some guy sitting back there at a table, and these guys were going up to him and talking to him and then leaving and stuff. And this guy was just sitting back there like this, And so I watched this while throughout our meal. We had some nice prime rib, man. It was great.
Sure.
And so we left, and I said, well, what's the deal on this restaurant here? They said, that's owned by some friends. Some friends? Are they my friends too? He said they can be.
So that was another run-in with the mob, huh?
I don't ever use that word.
Right.
I'm just
The family.
The family.
pardon me while I have a little bit of that.
They're running with the family. Just hanging out with the fam.
Yeah, just
break
me
my heart.
and the boys.
Hey, let's break it wide open. The mob's down here. You know that?
Oh, I don't doubt it a bit.
Oh, up in Banner Elk?
Yeah. Oh,
Kidding
yeah.
me?
Hey,
I've heard.
Yeah, I know.
There's
We're not supposed to get into that.
There's
Hey, I
only
gotta-
a reason.
I got to drive out of here, man.
There's a 4-star steakhouse in Banner Elk.
Yeah.
Is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
I've been there.
yeah.
Well, I think it's fairly common knowledge. I don't think this is anything super controversial to say,
I
but
don't think they even
it has
care.
something to do with the guy that ratted out John Gotti. Is what I've heard. Now I don't know if that's.
I don't know if I'd want to be in that
restaurant.
restaurant or not.
It's tangentially related.
Yes, in some way, shape, fashion, or form. Yes. Yeah.
Well, I know the restaurant we're talking about. They got good food.
Yeah, it's a great
They
restaurant.
certainly do.
A little bit pricey, but
Yeah, it's out of most people around here's.
That money's not going to clean itself.
No, it's not. Yeah.
I thought we weren't going to talk about politics.
I always heard it was called Sugar Mountain, not for the snow.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
That's
I'm
what I
sure.
always heard.
Well,
That's a big old condo up on top of that thing. So
It is.
Well, it makes you wonder.
as a matter of fact, there's someone up there watching us right now.
probably.
There is.
That's great. That's
His-
awesome.
Welcome
his
in.
name- His name is Bobby Seagraves.
Awesome.
Nice.
What's up, Bobby?
So,
Bobby.
the Mountain Man.
Yeah.
What's the name? Where did Mountain Man originate? How did you start going by that moniker?
Glad you brought that up because there's a good story, a recent story about that too. I went to WTAB in Tabor City,
Okay.
North Carolina. I thought I was close to the beach. Not. But
Not quite.
no.
Getting closer.
So anyway, and this guy, his name was Sinbad, and he had an eye patch. His name was Tim Sindel was his name. And he said, well, you're from the mountains. Let's just call you Mountain Man. And I said, okay. Well, recently, there's a guy. Now, I've been a Mountain Man since 74.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a guy that popped up on Duck Dynasty called the Mountain Man. And they were like, oh, well, you can't use that because, and I said, listen, I said, if we can go to any court you want to. We can go to court all day long, boys, because I've had that name since 74, and I plan on using it and keeping it.
So they were seriously trying to tell you couldn't use the damn name.
It was insinuated.
What? Just on radio?
Yeah.
Yeah, on the air.
Yeah. And and you know, I'm like, kiss my butt.
Yeah.
And then what else was it recently? The motorcycle thing that I use. Well, there's a radio station that does that. Well, I've been doing that since the 70s. And somebody was whining about, oh, you're copying so-and-so. And I said, no, maybe they're copying me. And
I'm the OG here.
yeah, you know, and I'm just like, the ride. You know, and I'm like, oh, please.
I've heard that.
So you've literally been doing this your entire life.
Yeah, I sure have. Not yet, I haven't.
Right. Well,
I'm
Damn,
working.
Chase,
to
did I
date.
come on now?
I'm working on it, Chase. But I've just always, you know, I've been a lot of nice places. I've been a lot of interesting places. I've met a lot of interesting people. And I couldn't ask for a better life, really.
That's awesome.
It kind of sucks now with the way politics are. But, I'm sorry.
I love it.
I will say it sucks the way people are.
Yeah.
Well,
Nowadays.
I tell you, I noticed like after the pandemic, which we're getting ready for COVID 2.0,
Oh, I
I
know.
think.
Yeah.
But after the pandemic, people just got so screwed up, man. I was going down the road the other day, and it's like I pull up beside this chick, and she's in a nice, like a '57 Chevy, and I look over and smile, and she reaches over and slams her door lock. And you know, normally that wouldn't be a big deal, except for the fact that we were doing 70 at the time.
Wow.
And I don't know why she was locking her door.
You look like you might jump. I'm
you
just saying.
Mountain, you clearly threatened her.
Well, I'm truly sorry if
Maybe she was protecting you from her.
From the sounds of it, that's
she found my appearance offensive, I guess.
That's funny.
But yeah, and it's I don't know, man. It's done if they do COVID 2.0 when and we go through that, we're gonna have those draconian mandates. And it is going to, I'll tell you, man, we're close to a dystopian society.
There are parts of the country that are there.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, I have noticed traveling weekly on an airplane, whatnot, that the mask usage is starting to increase.
Yeah.
the people's swagger, the way they move. When if you cough or sneeze, they like hit the deck almost, freak out. You know, that's increasing. People are starting to, in certain areas, space their tables out in restaurants again and stuff. All this stuff.
It's creeping up on us.
Well,
And largely, though, it's interesting. It gives a different signal when someone's wearing a mask now, if they obviously don't have medical issues or something. But
Right.
it's kind of starts to get like attention-seeking behavior.
Exactly. And
So it's interesting.
and I find it very interesting when you see people driving in a car by themselves with the windows rolled up, wearing a mask.
I still see that.
I do too.
I still see that.
And you know something, you see it more in Burnsville than you do in Spruce Pine.
Yeah.
Sure, you see it more in Asheville than you do in Johnson City.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah. You know.
Asheville's woke.
Yeah.
Burnsville's turning woke. Spruce Pine, hold your ground, damn it.
Yeah, exactly.
We might have to wake up to be woke.
I will push back a little bit on what you said, Jimmy. I don't know that people are getting shittier. I think we've always been this shitty.
It's just now we're being more honest about
yeah,
it.
I think so too.
Yeah, that could be.
I will tell you this:
As a society anyway.
there's a side effect that during COVID I have noticed that, and social media is to blame for this. But people are starting to talk to each other like they're on Facebook,
Yeah.
LOL.
and I'll hear people say that or like, "Let me reply to that," and I'm like, I'm right here.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you don't have to preface with what your actions are, and you start hearing phrases like they're responding to a post when they're having a conversation with you, or they'll talk to you. I've even seen people, they'll like drift off, look at their hands like they're going into that mind narrative of how would I respond to this
GTFO.
right now, and then they look up like, oh, reality, I'm here. But I've noticed that returning to society has been challenging for some folks.
Well, it seems that like they're trying to change it. They're trying to change the culture completely. Mm-hmm. And we're a melting pot, but we've always had a unique culture. And it seems like they're wanting to change. I mean, hell, there are civilizations that had the same culture for thousands of years. And we ain't made it. We ain't made it yet to 200.
No.
Or have we? I don't know. How long have we been here?
Let's see. We celebrated our.
76 was the bicentennial.
Yeah.
We're coming up on the 250 here very, very soon.
Okay.
So we're not even made it 300 yet, and we're already.
It's interesting. I know you've traveled around, lived in areas like I have. It used to be when you traveled around parts of the U.S., everywhere had a very unique vibe.
Yeah.
If you went to Louisiana, it was you heard the Creole accent. If people came here, we had accent. If you went to Sandusky, Ohio, they had a very different way of thinking. And if you went to Tucson, Arizona, or Sedona, everything was unique. Now, everywhere is the same.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. I was thinking about how, and I think the internet has homogenized everything. So where everybody sees the same thing, and retail, like everywhere's got a Walmart and a McDonald's and a KFC. All the everything's the same stores everywhere, but it goes deeper than that. I grew up in the 70s. Okay, born and raised 73.
Lucky bastard.
Yeah, I know, right? I grew up in the 70s and then into the 80s, which was like awesome. But in the 70s, Happy Days was on TV,
Right.
a show about the 50s.
Yeah.
And if you looked at the 50s, they looked distinctly different from the 70s.
Yeah.
Then you get the 80s look distinctly different than the 70s and the 60s and so on. You get to 2000 today, everything looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
You can't. It's like time stopped at 9/11,
You can't.
and everything's been the same.
Right.
You can't figure out. You can't figure out. Am I close enough to this?
You're good.
You can't figure out what time frame you're in. I've got lost from 2000 up to today.
You and me both. It's gotten it's like Groundhog Day.
Yeah, it is. It's just the same thing over and over and
Like
over.
90s,
again.
we had grunge,
Yeah.
and we all remember that the flannel and all that, the 60s 2.0, basically. But literally since 2000, it's just wash, rinse, repeat.
Yeah, it is. Have any of y'all been to Berea, Kentucky?
Oh yeah,
Berea,
Go to
yeah.
college.
Yeah,
Yeah,
college.
we actually have a lot of folks here
Okay.
from here who've gone to Berea for their free education.
Yeah, I had a couple of friends that went to Berea.
The reason I asked that is the first time I ever went there, I could have swore I was just in Burnsville.
Oh, absolutely.
I got there and I was like,
That is very true.
what the hell?
You're not wrong. Burnsville with a college.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, that's a scary thought.
Yeah.
I was like, so
Well,
we're going to get
an
some
established
food, right?
college that the government recognizes.
okay.
I was like, all right, well, we met our friends there, and I was like, oh, we're going to go get some food, and, what is there? And they're like,
Pizza Hut.
No. There's a truck stop
Oh, that's
and
right.
a Chinese restaurant. That was it.
That was it.
There was no chain restaurants there whatsoever. Not even a McDonald's at that point. I don't know if there is now or not. But that blew my mind. I'd never been there, so I didn't know what to expect, but I just assumed it was a college town, so I think Asheville, Johnson City. And I get there, and it's... Actually, I don't even know that I would call it Burnsville. Maybe closer to Bakersville.
Yeah, it's very small. It's very small.
I
remember-
guarantee you there's a KFC there, though. Because that's real close to...
I remember when
What's
there
the name
was,
of the town where KFC was found?
Yeah.
Corbin, Kentucky is the home,
Corbin,
the
yeah.
birthplace
Corbin.
of,
That's right.
of KFC.
I remember whenever there was not a McDonald's, there was the Circle Drive-In and the City Drive-In.
Yeah.
Yep,
And-
Circle is right above the TOE.
Right above TOE. Yep, that's where I got my sustenance from whenever I was working down there.
That was my father's first job, and then later on we ended up buying that building.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What was your dad's name?
Mike Thomas was his name.
Well, I know your father well.
Yeah, yeah. You brought Mike and Teresa.
Yes.
Yes, that's my mom and dad.
Well,
My mom and dad.
son of a gun.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, he used to talk about it all the time when we were growing
Mike
up.
had a younger brother.
That would be. No, he was the youngest.
Okay.
Richard
Richard.
and Gene were his
Richard
brothers.
and Gene.
They were both
Yeah.
older. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember Richard had a little Honda 50. And he used to ride it down to the house, man. We used to ride that thing on.
Really nice. That's awesome.
Memories
Yeah.
pressed between the pages.
But it's the truth, though. I think that
Jimmy, have you got my sociology board pulled up on your computer?
Yeah, I was going to get to that in a minute. We had a break because I need some explanations on some of these words. Like I see secondhand embarrassment and then firsthand embarrassment, and some of the verbiage just showing how old I am. I saw this earlier today. I was like, wait a minute. I'm going to have to ask him about that while I was there. So I was going to get to that, but you noticed it ahead of me.
I noticed, I was like, wait, that looks weirdly like my sociology room.
Well, look. I don't know if anybody can post this here. But he posted this, and it's all these words like sus and ick and cringe. And,
Giga Chad, swag. I recognize
bussin',
a lot of
bro.
those. Bussin'.
I was actually going to ask Mountain Man a question because I was
Jump in,
morbid
please.
curiosity.
Yes.
I need your opinions on streaming services.
Well, I'm using Live 365. They're probably, for continuity and quality, that's about the only one I'm really familiar with. I
was more talking like streaming service, like Apple Music, Spotify has has that hurt radio any?
Oh shit, yes. It's destroyed, man. iHeartRadio is the worst thing that ever happened.
Clear Channel really shit the bed on that one.
Yeah.
Just stick to
And streaming services, it hurts because like we were talking about, you can get any kind of entertainment anywhere, anytime. And in order to be able to do, I mean, hell, man, it's untelling how many thousands of people are playing the same stuff I'm playing. Maybe not exactly with the same flavor, but it's hard to you got to throw in some extra stuff in there.
You do.
You got to do something to catch their attention, like the hemp flagship.
You have to have
the
a
hemp-
signature.
Right. Yeah, the flagship station of the hemp network. And quite frankly, I just got up one morning and was trying to think of something to do, and I said, and I saw all these CBD stores around and everything, and I said, well, let's just hop on that bandwagon and see how
Sure.
that works for a while.
Why not, man?
Yeah.
Why not?
So, quite frankly, it hasn't been as successful.
I'd love to get your thoughts on this. I have a theory on AM radio, not FM. very specifically AM, and I'll finish this theory. It is my belief that AM radio is the only radio format that could actually be wildly, madly successful in micro markets. Let me explain what my theory is. So anyone in this room can get any song they've ever heard in their life right now, pretty much without question, except for maybe your friend's band that only played live once, whatever. But most popular music you can get immediately delivered.
Right.
There's one thing that AM can deliver micro markets that nothing can deliver, and that is live local sports, live local news, live local everything.
Absolutely.
And if I had unlimited wealth and unlimited bandwidth as a human being, I would love to grab like TOE or KYK or WEMB, Tenalina Country, 1420 WTEMB. What was that? Hold on a minute. Go to my radio voice. Country Gym in the Morning, Tenalina Country, 1420 WEMB.
Hell yeah.
That was back in the day.
I always liked it was 1470 WTOE Big Toe.
I called it the Big Toe and got in trouble. They said, you can't call it the Big
Yeah.
Oh, come
I'm like,
on.
but it is. So
I could have given you a heads up on that,
God,
man.
they did not like that.
No.
But so my thing is, let's say it would take a lot of upfront investment. However, back to block format, I think in today's market, that's the only thing that can be successful, but it has to be done right, and you have to manage it well. So here's my theory. AM radio, super focused. So think about drive time in a micro market. That's taking the kids to school and getting them off the bus. It's also going now. If you focus on drive time in a different, don't think about people going to work. Think about people taking their kids to school. And if everything in your format is the sporting, the scores, all the games, the schedules for the practices, everything, get heavily engaged with the schools to get all that data.
Oh, hell yes.
So that's your format, and that's your morning show.
Yeah.
And you start getting teachers, principals, you focus heavily on that, and then after school drive time, do the same thing. Don't forget today after school, this program is going on at Deaton, this program's
Right.
here. And then that's where your engagement is.
That would work. And the thing that would even work on streaming radio.
It would work on stream radio because you have to do streaming too if you're out in areas behind the mountain where the tower doesn't reach.
And if you did that, you would the only downside of that, you'd have to have such a group of people.
You'd have to have a marketing team.
Yeah.
You'd have to have more of a marketing team and coordinating team
Yeah.
than on-air personalities.
Right. You would.
Really, you'd need like a dozen people. However, what I would like to, again, if I had unlimited wealth, I would fund that because I do think if you had that format, advertisers would beat down the door to get that market once you had the numbers to prove it. And then I would invest heavily. So something here, Ricky Duncan, who's done our football, Mitchell High School play-by-play for WTO for years. That man should be syndicated because his personality, his southern accent is so pronounced and strong. I know people that tune in from Detroit, Michigan to hear him do play-by-play.
Love him.
I do too. I love it. And I wish, and that's our culture. Because he's like, he's like, shoot fire, did you see that, son? He knocked the tar out of him. I love it too because that's who we are.
Yeah.
And I just like, I hope, Ricky, if you're out there listening, or if anybody hears Ricky, man, when I was there at TOE, he was there doing play-by-play, and I used to laugh, and I get so tickled listening to play-by-play, and that's what it's about. It makes it so awesome. He's so genuine.
Yes.
If you could find more people like that.
That's what I'm afraid of because we're losing them.
That's the key. You're not there. There were old people like I don't know. I barely remember this guy, Stokes Bailey.
Oh man, Stokes,
I knew Stokes.
was awesome.
Stokes Bailey was a trip, man.
Yep.
And,
Stokes was awesome.
and he had no formal training in anything whatsoever.
But he had personality.
But he had a personality that wouldn't quit, buddy. And that's what it took. And if you could get, if you could do a like you say micro, and hire the right people. But that's the thing, is finding people in the proper age group with the proper skills.
Yep.
that would know exactly what you're doing here, because it's totally unlike any other thing as far as radio is concerned. It's a different
Radio's an
completely.
art form.
It is.
Wholly unique, like any other art form.
Bruce, back in the day, in the prime, he was on his game. He used to do he'd be carrying a giant 80-pound Marty in one hand, Mike in the other, walking around Sky City or everything, doing these live broadcasts all the freaking time.
Yeah.
He was so engaged, and that's what's missing from all media today. Like you look at WLOS, it's always reporting, trying to do shock media and stuff, but they're not engaging in the community. And AM radio, back to your point, and again, if I had unlimited wealth and unlimited resources, and I would have a 4-year plan, that way I could build the people,
right?
Make them go find raw talent and build them. But it would, if you had somebody walking around engaged, and Brandon Roberts, when he was at the newspaper, he did a lot of that. He was super engaged and out and about, Roman reporter stuff. But that's, again, I digress. I love AM radio. I never could afford to work in it all the time with kids and hobbies and other obsessions. But I love AM radio, and I would love to see it embrace the community. And I've searched. I've not found one that has. But if you had just think about how the radio, if it was part of the community, like the halftime show was live on the air.
Yeah.
And they're part of it.
Exactly.
All that stuff. Anyway, I just I can ramble forever.
Talk to like the homecoming queen and the homecoming king,
yes,
and stuff during halftime, and not just have just blah blah blah, but like you say, engage the people.
Well, that was
you got to go to the people now. They're not coming to you. You've got to go get them.
Oh yeah, and I'll tell you something. Bruce is the secret to whatever success is left as far as AM radio around here.
He is the radio station.
Yeah.
Bruce is just, I can't say enough about him.
Bruce is a living treasure.
Yeah.
He is.
He is.
Bruce Eichert taught me everything I ignored.
And that's why you are where you are today.
Exactly. Which is not in radio. But, just such to a degree, unvalued treasure.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
he is.
I'm telling you,
love Bruce,
and God, man, he works like
he's like up at 3 a.m. and stuff, getting to work and stuff, and
it's wild.
I couldn't do it, man. I was like a 3-hour shift in the mornings, and hell, I was out of there, man. It was Bloody Mary time.
I saw David Biddix was back in the hot seat for a few days. Yeah.
Really?
I
think he was filling in for Bruce. I think Bruce had some things.
Bruce
to do,
had some health issues and things going on, so I hope he's through all that. But hopefully, it wasn't related to that.
Yeah, David's been filling in like Mondays and Tuesdays.
If you want to talk about the Mitchell County historian, is David.
David,
for sure.
Oh, really?
David, we're coming for you. I've been on David to get on this podcast for
a while.
He knows
6 months.
everything.
Since we started it.
I'll never forget the time I asked David. I asked Bruce first. Who's Jimmy Buffett?
Oh
God!
And he's like, "What do you mean? Oh, is that me? No, okay, it's Matt."
Of course, that's your ringtone.
Why did that happen when it said, "Who's Jimmy Buffett?" Is he going to like come down from heaven or something? And
he is, and he's George Thorogood. It's the weirdest thing.
I remember I told David Biddix that I hated the Beatles, and he just about stopped breathing.
Oh my God.
Holy shit!
What? He's like,
what came over you?
He wanted to say you're fired, but he didn't. Thank goodness he wanted to.
Right there's a good example of Jimmy Buffet memorabilia.
Yep.
A parrot.
No,
that's the reason it's in it.
I did end up regretting asking.
Rest in peace.
Bruce Eichert. Yeah, rest in peace. Jimmy Buffett. I regret asking him why.
I didn't realize what a mogul that cat was, man.
That's what I admire about him. $1 billion net worth. He still died. None of us take it with us.
Yeah, but I mean, he had like casinos and just like
tequila, beer, what?
Restaurants, everything.
Well, Land Shark was his. Then he had his own. I don't remember what the name of his tequila was. No, Casamigos. That's Jimmy Buffett, which I didn't even know. I drink it all the time. Had no idea it was Jimmy Buffett.
Let's see. What's the other? Who's Wabu?
Cabo Wabo. That's
Cabo Wabo.
old.
That's Sammy.
Sammy
Yeah,
Hagar.
That's Van Hagar's.
Sammy Hagar.
Here's a controversial music opinion.
Okay.
I like Van Hagar better than I like Van Halen.
You and me
Shoot
both. No, so here's the thing. I love
Get out of
watching.
my house.
I love watching David Lee Roth.
David Lee Roth.
I
Yes.
love watching David Lee
Yes.
Roth.
He's a great performer.
Do you know where David
I
Lee
love
Roth?
Hagar songs.
Do you know where David Lee Roth got his act?
Where?
His whole thing, his persona?
Vaudeville?
No. Jim Dandy Magrum from Black Oak, Arkansas.
Really?
He even said that. And if you'll watch Black Oak, I've gone to biker rallies, and Black Oak, Arkansas plays at every biker rally that ever happened. And you can see it, man.
Interesting.
And he's just exactly the same. And he said, I patterned myself after Jim Dandy. And it's just, you got to.
Wow. Everybody steals it from somewhere, don't they? Or not steals it, but uses it.
I don't know where
Borrows
I got
inspiration.
to figure out where I stole my stuff from because I'd like to give it back. I don't want it anymore.
You know, it's the Hagar, David Lee Roth thing. I love all of it, but I find myself listening, like with the exception of 1984, which I listen to all the time, over and over and over and over and over and over. But I listen to Sammy more than I do.
The band worked better with Hagar.
See, I feel like
Yeah.
Hagar neutered.
Because David Lee was kind of
Shut up, Josh.
David Lee. He was a disruptive influence.
He took the light away from the Van Halen brothers.
Yeah, he did.
And, you know, that
tell
does
me
something.
why.
now
Greatest song ever.
That's a great
like
song.
one of the, not maybe the greatest, but one of the greatest ever.
That,
I
they
love
could
the
have done
guitar
without
solo.
that part.
Yeah.
Now it really sucked. It really sucked whenever
He was trying to do David Lee Roth, though. He was trying
Yeah.
to do
True.
the scat stuff.
True.
It really sucked when they
was
brought what's the kid's name? It's not Amadeus Mozart. What the hell was
Wolfgang.
it? Wolfgang. I was close, man. And I
That's what he was
think
named for.
I think that really blew to
Oh, Michael Anthony kicking him out to have your kid. Look, I understand as a dad, would I do the same thing? Yes, I absolutely would. I absolutely would.
after as long as they had been together, as hard as they worked.
But see, Eddie was a businessman.
Oh yeah, but
God, where's Jamie Vickers when you need him?
I know, right?
Get
And
that
then-
son bitch in here as soon as
and then of
possible,
course
baby.
people say, well, it's only the bass player.
Right.
Yeah, well, he was also the harmony and the soul of
Yeah.
that band.
He was. He was.
He
Every one of
actually
those high harmonies. were him.
he held everything together, and to be able to sit between Alex and Eddie and hold it together,
Right.
and be happy just sitting there on the yay drinking your Jim Beam or Jack Daniels or whatever. But some of his bass playing is super freaking technical. You just don't hear
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like on Why Can't This Be Love, for instance.
Yeah.
It's got some awesome bass lines.
Well, I have a theory that if the bass player and the drummer kind of just disappear from the front end of the band, you're probably doing the right thing. That's the backing track to everything. It's
Oh,
the
yeah.
rhythm.
Well, it's
the
your rhythm
section.
your
It's
rhythm
your
section.
foundation.
Yeah,
That's
it's
your
your-
foundation.
that's
with
your
the
foundation.
exception of Rush and Primus.
That's always been. That's why I don't try to get super crazy at drums.
Yeah.
Even when we play with like Danny and stuff, I'm not
Yeah.
trying to make it reinvent the wheel.
Me neither. You gotta
Sit in the
play for
pocket.
yeah, you got to
Well,
play to the song.
You
Yep.
guys need to do a jam sometime.
Oh, we do on Twitch with our buddy Danny.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yes. Have you seen like the Moondust advertised Danny Kaye, the piano man?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's a dueling piano bar player that lives here in town.
Okay.
And he does during COVID, because they closed all the bars and all that, he went on Twitch, the streaming service.
Right.
It's typically like a gaming kind of based thing.
Yeah.
But they've now branched out into like just chatting and all. It's essentially like a broadcast, almost like radio.
Yeah.
And me and Josh have went over and played with him a couple times on his live Twitch.
Hey, yeah, but it's a kick.
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
it's
it's
fun,
awesome.
dude. It's
It's so
fun, dude.
much
We're going to
fun.
do it again. We're doing a tribute to the artists that have died in the last 2 years.
2 years. Yes. Yeah.
For this next one
We were
going
going
on.
to do the last year, but it just there was so many deep cuts, and it gave us a little more material to go the past 2 years.
Well, you got Tina Turner, Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah.
Who else we talking about?
I think we ought to. I think we ought to kind of think about what kind of world we're going to leave for Keith Richards.
Very
That's the truth, because he'll be here after all of us.
Because man, He's like,
He is COVID. We all caught Keith Richards.
he said,
we would have all died.
he
if we
said,
had caught
he
Keith
said,
Richards.
COVID. He said, I smoked that shit back in the 70s, man.
Shit,
Dude,
dude.
pretty good it was.
Oh,
you something.
you need to like have some call-ins here. You guys would get call-ins.
Yeah.
You really would.
I wish I knew how. I don't even know where to begin with that, doing call-in stuff.
I guess you just give your
Obviously,
cell phone
I don't.
Yeah, what could go wrong?
Obviously,
No, we
I
get a
don't know
separate
either.
phone. We were talking before we started about the rants and raves that used to be in the paper. You telling me you put that on a radio or
Oh my
or
gosh!
something? Oh my gosh!
Dude.
You would
Well,
do.
speaking
It'd be like Jerry Springer, man.
speaking of cell phone
hilarious.
stuff.
I would love it.
Speaking
Rants and raves right now. Go live. Call your friends. Tell them call in right now. By which I mean get on YouTube and type in with your
Yeah.
fingers.
So what we could do is we could get just like a Google Voice number,
Yeah, could do that.
connect it to
Shit, boys, be a man. I got my cell phone number on there.
the
I mean, this is my
don't
cell
know, man.
phone number.
we've gained too many enemies.
this is the internet. So we get a Google Voice number, run it through the computer, run it through the audio interface, and I think we could actually probably make that happen.
You could patch it in.
Yeah, you could.
We'd have to take a couple of dry runs to figure it out, but it could be done.
I'll tell you what. Let's do. We'll do a Zoom. I'll be at my place. You guys be here, and then you guys start getting people to rant and rave.
Yeah.
And I'll just sit there and go, mm-hmm. You tell them.
You don't
This
have
is-
to get people to rant and rave.
this
They
is-
just do it.
They're ready to do it.
You go,
Are they
girl.
alive?
You go, girl.
This is what I want to tell Let's Talk Spruce Pine admin people. You think you have the bitchiest Facebook page, and you think you started this? No, the rants and raves in the newspaper.
Yeah.
The one did it before
Way
you.
back.
That's the OG.
That is the OG.
And people would rip. They would be waiting at the newspaper thing. Please put it in. People loved it, dude.
It's first hot off the press.
can't-
Yeah.
They printed it.
We had people that would come into the hotel. That was going on when Mom and Dad still owned the hotel. There were people that would come into the hotel because one of the hotel was one of the first ones to get the paper.
to get
Like,
the paper, just
yeah.
to get the paper of the rants and raves.
Yeah. They would come in and buy. People like just locally would come into the hotel in the lobby on it's Wednesday mornings, right? It comes out on Wednesday. They would come in there and buy us out just to get the rants and the raves.
My God.
I can't believe what people put.
Oh
Some of
my
the
gosh.
bitchy stuff on the internet, man. I mean, talking about stuff like, yeah, well, I really care. But I mean, and talking about somebody's like gonna claw somebody's eyes out or some shit.
It's crazy.
It's
dude.
gone
Actually,
insane.
I have a
That's the
funny
reason.
story.
That's the reason I was saying, if we could get like some call-in stuff going, you guys have a better chance at it than I do.
We'd have to manage the controversy though.
So what's
Well,
your?
now I don't know how you do that.
We got a funny story over here, so let's hear
I've
it.
got two things actually. So one, I put an application to join Let's Talk Spruce Pine, and I'm the producer of this podcast. I slid under the radar and got in.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Secondly,
they tolerate us on that.
Yeah, they do. They put up with us.
going back to the board that you pulled up on your computer, poor Miss Pittman. I'm gonna spread this story to the day I die. She Googled the most used word of this current year.
Oh no.
It just pulled up the vulgar term for a vagina just on the TV, entire class to see. I have never laughed that hard. I walked out of the room. I got up and had to take a breather.
Well, it's
there
such a versatile term.
there
You know
are-
what I mean?
yeah.
When you really think about it.
There are many different. What is a specific word? There are many different words for.
Many different contexts.
Yeah,
I have a feeling it's the one related with the cat.
Yeah.
Yep. I laughed for like 15 minutes. That was
that's
so
great.
funny. And if Miss Pittman sees this, I'm not sorry.
Well, I don't know, Miss Pittman, so put on your big girl panties, okay?
Was she appalled?
Well, she really didn't understand at first, and then we were all laughing and just like crying from laughter, and we eventually had to be like, that's what that means. Just like, oh, whoops.
Yeah. I hear you. I hear you.
Whoops. So, Mountain Man,
Yo,
this is an inside radio question. it might be difficult for air. What's the craziest thing you've seen inside the radio studio that you can share? Because you've done this for a while. I know you've seen some things.
Well,
because it's weird when no one's around late at night and this station's locked to the public.
Okay. We can take this as far as you guys would like to take it, but
All the way, baby. Let's go.
okay. Well, these two sisters came in early one morning, about 6:30.
I think I've seen a video about this.
It's probably
Yeah, me too, actually.
Yeah, the star was buck naked. And so anyway, they were you get fans, and they were fans, and boy were they fans. And so needless to say, there was a lot of dead air. For those of you that don't know what dead air is, it's the silence that you hear whenever ain't nothing happening.
Sounds a lot like this. There we go.
Minus the tea kettle in the background.
Somebody cue a record up.
Exactly.
For God's sakes. And so anyway, they proceeded to come in, and they showed me how much they appreciated me on the radio.
Let's go.
So, and
With the twins?
no, damn
Oh, it'd have been so much better if they were.
it. But this story does get better though.
Okay.
A couple of weeks later, their mom came in.
She was a fan as well, or was she there to kick your ass?
No, she was a fan as well.
Okay, that's better.
So I was going 3 for 3 there.
Everybody used to ask me because I worked evening shift, and of course Saturday night, Friday night, when everybody was having a social life, I was a TOE. But my friends would come hang out with me at the studio. Everyone always asks, "Is this station haunted?" Everyone always asks me that all the time. Do people ever ask you that?
Was that the one in Spruce Pine?
Yeah, Spruce Pine's now burned down,
Okay.
but yeah.
Yeah.
I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I was like, no, not that I know of, but everybody
It got kind of creepy as
It did get creepy.
as you got back towards Tom's office. Well, did you ever know Tom?
I didn't know him well. I knew who he was, but I didn't know of
He
him.
was a hell of a guy, but he was a character, buddy. And the thing he would do, he would like when he was talking to you, he'd say, "Well," and you'd look up because he looked like he was looking at something flying around the room.
Right.
And he'd say, "Well, I don't know. But I'll tell you one thing." And it was kind of, as you started to get back in the deep, dark depths of the radio station, which, as you said, they blew up.
Yep.
That place should have been on the national registry or some shit.
There was the mural on the back wall that you could, when the station came down, you could see the foot with the Tar Heel painted on it was on the back wall.
Yeah.
There was all that remained, and it was sad when that went down. And I've got I've got some photos of the inside of it, but I tell you, it was almost more entertaining to go watch the deals going down in the parking lot of TOE because people thought no one was in there.
Yeah.
And I saw people doing their business in the parking lot, and then you're like high school kid in the window like this.
What were they doing out there?
Well, now I can tell you from being very familiar with that Circle Drive-In building that's right next to it there on the chalk. That is a weird area.
Yeah.
We've got probably 10 internet modems blown up in the back of that. I've got them stacked up back there.
Hey.
We've grounded that building 6 times.
Really?
And it strikes it every time. It's
Wow.
got to be something to do with the vein, like the quartz vein,
Either
something to
that or
do.
maybe I think ISIS took responsibility for the fire.
Yes, that's
Jimmy
right.
was
Yeah,
definitely ISIS.
I wonder what what are they gonna do with the tower? I've always thought that there should be some good use for that tower.
It's still broadcasting there, and they've got a little outhouse there with the amp on it. The tower's still active. It's being ran remotely from KYK.
Oh, okay.
So they're rebroadcasting through it. So it's still in service today.
So KYK and WTOE used to be 2 different radio stations.
Completely separate
They were
entities.
Gotcha.
Before the Ardells and Ramel
Yeah.
purchased the stations and combined them into Mountain Valley Media.
I got you.
They were completely separate entities.
Yeah,
and
so-
in Avery County, too, it's 1210, 12. I can't remember
I
every
don't
county's
even
little
know what it is
station.
there.
Now, so when did WTOE first start? And was it part of the thing that broadcast the
1954.
Yeah, that's right.
really? So who broadcast the Carolina Barn Dance and all that, or was that just done?
That was done from the Carolina
From
Theater.
From the
Barn Dance.
theater.
Yeah, they had their
Okay.
own. That was all part of their.
Yeah, they
setup
had
there.
Yeah.
their own deal, but the signal. I haven't figured out yet what the deal is as far as like the FM and the signal on the AM.
So they bought bandwidth. They again, once the regulation happened, they bought an FM band, and that is, to my understanding, it's on broadcasting that tower simultaneously.
Oh, okay.
The technology's changed now to where you can operate them both from one single tower.
Okay.
So they're powering an FM feed off of it and an AM feed, and it's just redundant.
and an internet feed too.
That's right.
Well,
and it's also on, which is iHeartRadio.
the AM, Heart Radio.
Yep.
What was Clear Channel thinking when they did that? That's what I wanted.
They weren't.
No.
Obviously, they weren't.
Well, they didn't heart radio.
Yeah.
No, they hated radio and tried to push it digital. You know?
Yeah.
And I'm sure all you people are interested in their insight, and I just like to say that there will be no more wildfires, there will be no more hurricanes, and there'll be no more heat waves if we stop drilling for fossil fuels.
Sure.
And
This is true.
on that note,
And that makes us all safe and makes us all feel better.
It does.
Well.
I love climate change because we can pay it to go away.
yeah, no shit, really.
Yeah, it's funny how that works.
We can pay it to go away.
It's like, well, if you got enough money, it'll quit snowing, and
It will.
yeah. Just,
I like it.
I'm just, well, the Earth is cyclic anyway. Hell, shit's changed over the years, and
Yeah, the Earth is bipolar.
It certainly is. It certainly is.
speaking of my ex-wife,
Yeah, are you married?
well,
That's a lot of hesitation for that.
Depends on your definition of married.
well, see,
It's Tuesday, by the way.
hey, not presently. I was entangled.
Yeah.
I was losing my nads, so I had to get away.
Right. I got you. That will happen. That will happen.
No, my first wife was an excellent human being. She was a wonderful woman. And then it went downhill from there until Pam, who is listening in Mississippi, by the way.
What's up, Pam?
Yeah, she's still a hottie.
Nice.
She goes to the gym 3 times a week.
You go to the gym?
Do I go to the gym?
Yeah.
Do I look like I go to the gym?
Do I look like I go to the gym?
Jeez, man, I
I go to the gym.
Jimmy goes to the gym.
I do every morning.
Jimmy's a gym rat.
I go all the time.
Overachiever.
I drive right by it on my way to work.
Oh, I'm starting MMA, so
I'm
Yeah,
afraid.
people got some real opinions about that. That's what I saw. Jesus
I just want to do
Christ.
workout, man. And
Well, that's a good
Look,
You
workout.
can't do that. You can't just work out. There's got to be some kind of
You got to be
underlying-
outraged and work out.
You got to be pretty. You got to be pissed off to
Yeah,
do that, man.
exactly.
yeah, I've
but-
got a lot of energy. I just got to find.
You have a lot of anger, young man.
I do.
You
I'm
have
so,
the inner
I'm so
anger.
mad.
If you'd funnel your energy into fixing this town instead of that, and
No, I used to do Ishinru, and that was a Korean form of martial
Yep.
art, and I enjoyed that.
didn't
And,
Herman Cornette do that for a
He
while?
did.
Oh, Herman was my sensei.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. I like Herman.
I do too.
Herman was really good too.
Now the Jackie doesn't want me sharing this, so I definitely am going to. She and she's not listening. So she studied ninjutsu for years, and
Really?
she is
Wow.
I won't say vicious anymore 'cause she's very polite, but she's dangerous if she needs to be. So
Now, who is this? And
my
why
wife. My wife.
Could you show me a picture of her?
I can.
I want to avoid her.
I can. She's from Detroit. So
Oh, well, there you go.
so she had to learn to take care of herself. But she used to be able to hip toss me like it was nothing. Now I just don't get close enough for that to happen. But I'm not taking MMA and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to defend myself from my wife, or I might be. So I travel a lot.
Did we find a gym?
Yeah, so in Burnsville, actually, I found out that some new church members, there is actually one of the new church members who just moved here to Burnsville. They do on Tuesdays, they teach Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and on Sundays, they teach grappling, and it's free for all ages. So I can get information and post that in the notes. But I just really want to grapple and just learn to take a fall, because I'm starting to do that more as I get older in life. So
I've learned how to grovel. I've learned how to grovel and take a fall.
Right. I don't know about grapple, but I definitely have groveled a couple times.
oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Hey,
so.
geez, guys, I tell you, man, we need to. I still like this idea about the raves and rants.
I love that idea. I would love to incorporate that in, and there's no moderating it. It's just like, hold on. Like, here we go.
Hey, well, I'll tell you what we can do right now, since my phone number is out there, 828-284-9302. Call us up right now if you're watching and tell us how pissed off you are about this show.
Yes, please.
Are people pissed off about this show?
Oh,
No, I don't see
think
why.
I don't know if you've noticed, Jimmy, but people are pissed off about a lot of very trivial
I
shit.
know,
Yeah,
man. I just like, sometimes I'm like, real what? Why are people angry? So angry all the time.
You get your ass beat for using the wrong pronoun, man.
Oh my gosh,
That's facts. You're speaking facts right there.
I mean,
rough.
to the tens of people that watch this show, I can see why there may be a problem with us spreading misinformation and, let's see, all kinds of fun stuff.
There we go.
All right, there we go.
Uh-oh, come on, bring it.
Let's go.
We got a caller. We have our first caller. What are they pissed off about?
What are you pissed off about?
Oh, this is the angry white man.
Yeah.
The angry white man is on Hollercast.
I just wanted to say I'm angry that I haven't watched Hollercast before.
Well, thank you. I'm angry too. I'm angry at you.
He loves. I guess he.
Enjoyed it.
Are you enjoying the show?
I sure enough am.
Well,
Awesome.
let me ask you, sir. What do you do for a living?
I don't.
Good man. Good
That's
man.
the best answer.
That is the best answer ever.
Well, listen. I certainly. Where are you calling from?
Greensboro, North Carolina.
Wow.
Welcome in, Greensboro.
The borough.
The borough.
Oh, God, the borough.
I love the
Well,
enthusiasm.
okay. What are you angry about today?
I'm not really angry today. It's a beautiful thing.
Good.
Thank
Oh,
God.
my God.
I'm not angry either.
How sweet,
Man, every day above ground's a good
I'll be
day.
pissed off tomorrow.
You take it tomorrow to be pissed off.
Hey, well, thanks for calling, man. Enjoy the show.
My regards to the guys.
Okay,
Hell yeah.
Thanks for that.
See
Thanks for
ya.
calling, brother.
Thanks, man.
Bye bye.
All right, we're buying a mobile phone,
Yeah.
getting a contract, and just
Yeah.
throwing
We're
the
doing
number
Google
out
number
there.
tomorrow.
Here, just use this one. The number's already out there.
Man.
Oh my God!
Well, let's see. You want to try this again?
This is hilarious. Yeah, man, go for it.
So, all right, Mount Man, what's
I'm gonna do the same thing.
Go ahead,
I'm
go
gonna
ahead.
use the restroom real quick.
your radio show? What would you like to do? The call-in piece? What would you like that to be? I mean, just what? Here's the thing. Tell the listeners the next time you're going to do it. Let's do that.
Okay, I'm going to start back in October.
Okay.
And we'll do it the first Monday. We'll do it Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays at 7 o'clock.
7 p.m.
Yeah.
Eastern time.
Yeah.
Okay.
5 Central and Mountain Time.
Gotcha.
But no, hell, I don't know. It's so hard to work at, and I just probably just call with anything.
You just want to talk.
anything they got on their mind.
Are you looking to do? Let's say you start getting a lot of calls. Speaking of which, got another call. This might be a regular call. Anything can happen on the Hollercast. We're fighting.
Hello.
What are you doing, Mountain Man?
We're on the Hollercast right now. Who's this?
I'm out walking a dog right now.
The silence speaks volumes.
Y'all doing?
That's Mark from the Chalet.
Listen to the podcast, and I'm down here in Durham, North Carolina now.
Somebody just identified you.
I'm hoping to be that way soon.
Okay, well, I'll talk to you later then.
I recognize his voice anywhere.
Would you recognize him sober?
That's a story for another day. Probably not. Oh, Mark, man, he's always been around. So he's down in Durham now.
Well, he
Interesting.
he just got through with some serious cancer treatment.
Yes, I was aware that he got real little there for a while. So
And he's now he is. They said that I think he's clear.
knock on wood, man.
So
I don't wish that on anybody.
He's
ever,
in good.
for sure.
He's in good shape as far as he says. He would call whenever he was going through the treatments occasionally. I've known Mark for a long time now.
Yeah,
and he's just the mayor of Little Switzerland.
he is. He is. I've not only been up there a couple times this season just because travel and work and whatnot, but I do love sitting out there with my cigar on the fire pits.
Oh yeah,
watching the moon come up, man.
Yeah, that is sweet, man. That's a beautiful place up there.
It is. Are you living up there? Are you in Little Switzerland today, or where are you living?
I'm living over in Newdale now.
Oh, you're Newdale.
Yeah. I built a 3-story log cabin up on Chestnut Mountain over there.
Oh wow.
And through no fault of my own, of course, she didn't have anything to do with it. So now I'm living in the old family home place.
Gotcha.
Which I refer to as Stately Mountain Manor.
I like that.
My studio's in the East Wing.
Mountain Man and Stately Mountain Manor.
Nice. Mountain Man, or you spell it with 2 N's like your name you have to.
No, well, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But look, it's the Matt signal, man signal.
So, how does somebody get to find your show on the internet? Would you have a website, Facebook? What's the best way?
I got a website, and all you got to do is just on any device or your laptop, anything, you just type in mountainmanradio.com.
Mountain Man
in the chat right now.
Is that 2 N's or 1 N?
1 N.
1 N. Mountainmanradio.com.
Mountainmanradio.com.
Yeah, I like to plug that for our listeners for sure.
I don't know who the hell this is.
Oh, we might have another caller.
Hello? Hello? You're on the air.
Did I hear someone say something about the motherfucking bat signal?
Wow, you did.
Bat bitch is all over the bat signal.
Let's go.
There is a new chapter in the Hollercast, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, we were talking about something. You've taken me aback here, my dear.
You know what I'm angry about today?
What are you? Oh, you're
Let's hear
angry. You're angry
hear it.
too. What are you angry about?
All this goddamn humidity.
Humidity.
I'm
Great.
with you on that
Great
for
to the
sure.
choir.
You know what you call sweaty titties?
Sweaty titties.
What?
Humidity.
See, now we're gonna have to get like a soundboard with sound effects and everything.
Why don't you hang up in my face?
Like a fucking child swimming pool in my bra.
What has this devolved into? Where do we go?
Howard Stern show.
I'm sorry, guys.
Listen, this is why we invited you here, brother.
I'm actually embarrassed. Like my face is red.
Well,
like, we're gonna have to get the 6-second loop, like a TV.
I'm actually kind of excited.
I'm so glad I no longer turn on my camera anymore.
I'm very stimulated.
This is hilarious.
My Siri just said she's not sure she understands. I don't know why that.
The faceless voice over here is not embarrassed.
No, I'm not embarrassed. I'm proud.
All right.
There you go.
Big hand for you.
Let's go.
Oh man.
Well, hell, boys, what do we do for an encore?
Jeez.
I think that was the encore.
That was a swan song, I think.
I didn't know where the humidity was going to go. I did not expect that. I thought we were going to have a conversation. Are those smelling salts?
Yes.
Thank you for calling in. Whoever that was, that made my night. Thank
Yes.
you for calling in. That was hilarious.
So, Josh, I went hard on those smelling salts a couple weeks ago. So
Yeah, here, get you another whiff.
No, I'm good.
Here you go, man.
I just had nasal surgery, so we're going to leave that alone for a minute.
yeah, don't do that. That's a good idea.
What are we passing?
Smelling salts.
It's like that stuff.
Don't get much closer.
Hey, let me see that stuff.
No,
Gee.
it's harsh.
I tell you, dude, work has killed my nose. The chemicals that I can't smell.
Dude, we need to contact Sabelco.
No.
I'm telling you.
We need the HR department tomorrow.
We need to call Hunter Biden.
You've got COVID.
I can't.
You've got
Try it. Be
COVID.
careful, though.
No, dude, this is.
Be easy. It'll get you.
Oh, shit, I can smell it over here.
If you get too close, it'll tears will come to your eyes.
Oh yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
It'll wake you up.
There you go.
Hey, Red Freak, man, this is some pretty good stuff, man.
That's what you need in the morning for good quality radio.
You
Are
can't
you
smell it?
serious?
Serious, dude.
You can't smell
I can
that?
barely smell it.
Man, that almost knocked my eyeballs out.
He works in the worked forever in the lab at Sabelco.
tried to put my drink lid on it.
What could go wrong?
No,
Don't
I
put it
didn't.
back on your drink.
I'm going to. I'm going to drink it. No, I work in the. Currently I work in a float plant, and we use a lot of reagent chemicals. And I go to work and I can't even smell them. It's my sense of smell is diminished probably by like 70 or 80% from my time there.
Jimmy's getting bored now. He's picking the brain
I
over.
just-
He's picking the
I-
brain over
You like
here.
that?
There's always such interesting stuff on the table, And
I know.
was like-
I don't know. I meant to ask you last night where this came
And
from.
I've
can't
had
help
that
us,
for
like-
a long time.
So for those on the air, there's
It's anatomically correct.
a human, an anatomically correct head that you can
A
disassemble.
bisected head.
Yeah,
I'm
you
gonna
keep
start
putting
adding
stuff in
stuff
here
to the
too.
table.
Yeah, I do.
I noticed. Yeah, I know. Little knickknacks and shit. That's what I think about.
They're whatnots.
I'm gonna start
Yeah.
bringing stuff to the table now. I'm gonna find random stuff.
All I've got is a ventriloquist dummy.
I've got a lot to bring to the table, guys. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
You definitely bring a lot to the table.
But
That's the second one. I'd made a terrible dad joke earlier. I don't
All right, so
that was last night.
Oh, it was. Yes, it was awful.
I think I need to start bringing the bourbon of the week.
Yes, I think we do.
What could go wrong?
Well, hey,
And-
I'm empty over here, boy.
Yeah, exactly. And like I make it interesting for Josh though. I can also bring the bizarre soda of the week or something
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
Are you familiar with Jolt Cola?
Yes.
Whoa, Jolt.
All the sugar and twice the caffeine.
Right. Yeah,
That's the best marketing ever.
That stuff's better than Red Bull, man.
I actually found it in a Dollar General in Bakersville a couple years ago.
Whoa.
And you can order it online.
You know, you can. There's those things where you can order like throwback
That's
like
right.
things or whatever.
That's right.
Remember Josta?
Oh, I do.
With
I
that
do.
was the first drink I ever remember that had guarana in it.
Yep.
Remember now
Yep.
guarana's in
That's
every
everywhere.
energy drink
Yeah.
or whatever, but it had the like tiger or
Yep.
whatever on it.
Yep,
yeah,
I remember.
That was good stuff. And
Are you-
Balls energy drink with the W.
Now, are you guys
Yeah.
familiar with Big Red?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's more popular. Of course, Dr. Enough, if you've been over the mountain.
I like Dr. Enough.
Yeah.
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 Now, up north, they've got L8, but it's actually got L8, and there's a one that's small, and it's supposed to be a late one, but it's spelled L8, and then there's a one hidden in there. L8's like Dr. Enough up in northern Kentucky area.
Really?
Yeah.
Big Red's like
Save
a
it up.
Texan thing in it.
It is pretty much, yeah.
I'm
It
afraid.
was a gum.
My first wife is from West Texas.
I'm just
and that
wondering
is-
what kind of calls I'm going to get when I get home tonight.
They may be fun ones. I mean,
We're off the air now. You don't have to call anymore.
I think that says Sublovia. Is that our That's a great suggestion. Yeah, Sublovia, bourbon, and Jolt Cola. What could go wrong?
Brown.
Have you guys ever tried absinthe?
I have.
Yes.
I have.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That
Curl
stuff's
your
wild.
toes.
Let me suggest, ladies and gentlemen, and those of you who aren't too sure, I suggest rush out, buy a bottle of absinthe, and stay at home.
Yeah. Don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere. Don't get off the couch. You won't be able to.
Is it true that in its pure form that gives you hallucinogenic effect?
I hear that in Europe it is a hallucinogenic alcohol. I don't know.
Well, it used to be used to treat tuberculosis here
Yeah.
in the States back.
It's
during,
only
like,
been
the-
legal. It's only been legal again
Civil
for
War.
I don't know how many years. Not very long
and it's
at all.
in not quite the potent form it
No.
used to be.
However, there's one way you can do it. Is you take it and put it in a brandy sniffer, and you swirl it around, and then you light it and put a napkin over the top of it. Then you blow it out and you put a straw in it.
Yeah.
And
Didn't they used to put like a sugar cube or something in it too? That was like a thing,
It
right?
drips off into almost a sugar cube. It's a whole big long process, man. You know, it's
That's the reason, like, when I was smoking weed heavily, I was always like, there's all these new things that you can do, like
Right.
dabs
and
all this
gravity
other.
bongs and
Oh, yeah. It's like, come on. What, are you trying to reinvent
yeah,
the wheel?
reinvent the wheel.
car.
Yeah.
It's like, come on. Just give me a joint or give me a let's not get crazy with it. You
Just
know what
do
I'm
a
saying?
bud and go on home.
That's right.
man.
Hollercast, we don't promote drugs.
Well,
The opinions expressed on this show are not necessarily those
I'm gonna get drug tested
of
at
my
work
parents or
tomorrow.
my grandparents.
or Jimmy Henshaw. Jimmy wants to be out of this.
Exactly. I've never done drugs in my life. Never smoked marijuana. Never done any of
don't
that
do
stuff.
Of all that thing, all these stories in this background that you've told us, you never.
Nope. Not my thing.
Good for you, dude.
I'm high on life, dude. One of my old guitar players told me that he paid a lot of money to feel the way I feel every day.
Well, this is true.
So
Some people just get out of bed. That
it just
crazy.
it wasn't my thing. I don't really just was never my deal. Now I do like my beer. I do like my bourbons and whatnot, but I don't never been a thing. Always been surrounded by it, playing music,
Sure.
playing in heavy metal bands and whatnot.
But it's natural.
Various career choices I've made surrounded by it as well in my past, but it's
Radio wasn't one of them.
no, radio was a lot of hard liquor early in the morning.
So is that right? Radio's a drinker's
Oh
game.
gosh,
Huh?
Hey,
it seems to be.
I worked at one station, and the general manager would come in about like 7:00. And if I didn't have Bloody Marys fixed, I got there at 6 for the show. If I didn't have Bloody Marys fixed by the time he got in, he was pissed off.
Now, I've always heard that your TV people are.
Cocaine, yeah, I can see that.
I knew a
can see
person
that.
that said allegedly. So
I'd
don't
say
sue us.
I'd say it's probably true.
Yeah, I'd
Sue me.
But I knew a guy that said that he saw Darcel Grimes from WOS by Blow.
Wow.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
You're gonna get someone arrested.
Hey,
No,
look.
just us
Now,
two.
now I think the world of Darcel. That being said,
She can't sue us for defamation because she is a public figure.
there you go.
Yeah.
Are we public figures?
Yes.
Isn't that what
We are,
Amber
yeah.
Heard and Johnny Depp tried to do and failed?
Yeah, I guess so.
That probably had something to do with it.
Yeah. If you put yourself out into the public sphere in any way, shape, or form of media, it is extremely hard to bring a defamation lawsuit.
Jimmy, I'll have some of your bourbon now, I think.
Yeah, no, I should have brought some. Dang, I didn't even think about it. I got a new one at the house.
I've
that
finished
I really
off.
like.
I've finished
Maybe I
off
shouldn't have
everything.
said that on the air.
What's your go-to bourbon?
I'm not a bourbon man.
Oh,
I'm a tequila man.
hey, there you go.
I
Me
like
too.
I like barbecued iguana and Jose Cuervo.
Yeah.
I don't like any of the fancy tequilas. Just plain old
Standard
Jose.
stuff, yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I'm a fan of Casamigos, Jimmy Buffett's
Yeah.
tequila. That's good tequila.
I think we were
Never had
correct
any
in
of
the
it.
chat. I think Laura actually said something about that earlier. Let me see.
Yeah, I can't see the chat. My phone died.
Oh, that
So-
sucks. I'd offer
Sorry,
you a
babe.
charger, but you have one of those weird Androids.
I'm not switching over to the damn iPhone.
We've had this argument since this podcast started. We're trying to convert Chase into an Apple user.
You're gonna fail miserably.
I'm not saying I'm doing it. Don't blame me. It's him.
Not selling out to that liberal.
Jeez, I hadn't fed my dog yet.
Casamigos is George Clooney's tequila.
Oh, really?
Or Casamigos, however you say it. Yes, that's what Laura
See, I
says.
thought it was. Which one is the Jimmy Buffett one then?
I wasn't aware there was one. I didn't know that.
Buffett tequila. Because I know he has one.
Buffet tequila.
I would think he would have a rum. Margaritaville Silver Tequila.
Ah, should have known.
What an unoriginal name, Jimmy Buffett. Come on now.
Dude, it's a brand though.
I know,
Margarita.
it really
so
is. Yeah, I know,
he
I
he
get it.
probably his marketing
his
team
stage
says
name?
was Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That feels like a stage
I
name.
think it is.
His real name's probably like
Jimmy
Edward
Buffet?
Smith or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Something just.
John Carter.
I feel like he's a Roy. His name should be Roy.
Roy.
He was born James William Buffett.
James
Wow.
William Buffett.
Sounds official when you say it like
Bill
that.
Buffett. That would have been my name.
Billy
What's
Buffett.
up, Billy B?
That would have been mine.
Billy Buffett wouldn't have
Billy
worked. I don't know.
BB.
It's pronounced buffet.
Buffet. Only if you're French.
Well, gentlemen,
Yeah, you use that term usually. Loosely. That
Well,
was
all
it.
right, man. We're gonna, before we sign off, real quick, we're going to do before we wrap up.
sign
here.
off. That's about
Yeah,
radio.
exactly. Hey, got to go old school. Got some
We're
DJs in
signing
the
off
room.
now.
Remember, we used to have to play. I don't know if you were there. I used to have to play the pledge of the Pledge of Allegiance
National
and the
anthem.
national anthem to sign off.
Right.
And then played national anthem, and then we turned on the white noise, which was that's what you actually get when you turn off the transmitters.
Right.
And then we had to power down. We had to power down at sundown to the lower band, and in the morning when the sun rise, and that's a real thing. This is actually why light keeps the signal from traveling as far. So the light interference would slow
So
down.
that's the
and
reason
power
you
down.
could hear Mexican radio stations.
Oh yeah,
on-
for real.
At,
You really
at
can.
night. Yep.
I used to listen to Louisville's radio station when I grew up here. It's funny, I ended up living in Louisville for a very long time, but I used to listen to their radio station all the time.
There was a big
840.
station out of Cincinnati too that we used to. be able
Oh
to get
God,
out
yeah,
there.
the Sports Radio 900 WLW.
Yes, that was it.
And
Yep.
that's because they had the first 100,000 watt radio antenna, and it blew everything. out of the
100,000 watt blowtorch.
That's
Really?
right. And WTOE, I remember when they kicked on their 5,000 watt Tower of Power. That was a big thing.
Yeah.
The big toe with the Tower of Power. Crushing Spruce Pine with killer hits from Captain and Tennille. The Carpenters.
I always thought that Muskrat Lake sounded like somebody farting in the bathtub whenever they were doing that stuff.
Well, I think it was.
Well, gentlemen, as I use the term loosely now,
So, Mountain Man, we like to ask a question, and you've got to give a one-word answer
okay.
to the question. One word. That's kind of the challenge.
All right.
And I tried to think of some interesting topics, and I get redundant though because I like to hear the guest viewpoint. Where they're at. But today is going to be a little bit broader. One word to describe the state of the United States of America today. And Chase, I'll start with you. One word.
Can I tune in with this as well?
We'll come around to you. You're in this one. You're included. You're in the room. And we're not going to describe it until we get through all of them. Then we'll come back and we might ask why you chose that word.
Worrisome.
Worrisome. All right. Hold on. I'm going to take notes this time. I'm going to do something a little bit different.
Okay.
So let me take some notes because I have a Macintosh computer. I can do this really easily. It's really hard on Windows.
It's awesome, isn't it? It's great.
So this notes is awesome.
We
I put
should bring
pictures
ours
in
the
here.
next time, guys.
Actual words with a computer.
All right, Mountain Man. One word. United States of America.
A word I've used before, dystopian.
Got it. Noah, we're going to go to you next.
Me? Oh, I need to think about this.
No pressure. 10 seconds.
Just good one.
What's that?
I would give my answer probably just bad.
Bad. Okay, I get it. Josh?
Dumpster.
Ooh. Well, you all will always hate the insanely positive side of me. Free.
I'll accept that answer.
I disagree wholeheartedly,
I knew you would. I knew you would.
but that's okay.
We're close.
You know what, Jimmy, I accept your answer.
We're narrowing in on the first, second, and fourth amendments are the ones that mean the most to me. And we're narrowing in on the First Amendment really badly, and on the Fourth Amendment really badly, and the Second Amendment's up for grabs as far as I'm concerned right now. So,
I've always said something. America, land of the obese and home of the annoying.
It is now.
Home of the Whopper.
I'll take that answer too.
Chase, why worrisome?
I don't think it's beyond fixing.
Sure, no, but worrisome means that you you acknowledge that it needs fixing now. That's what I would say.
There's a lot of concerning things going on that, I don't think it takes somebody that has like a deep patriotic bend. That's what you see now. That's what I see now is I've always, I told you I was an AM talk radio guy.
Yeah.
You're talking Rush Limbaugh.
Oh, yeah.
Sean
No,
Hannity.
I get it.
Michael Savage, the
Art
Savage
Bell, George
Nation.
Norrie.
Yes. Come on. That's a whole other section we didn't cover right there.
Bell.
Oh, man.
I love George Norrie, but miss Art Bell.
I had that band. I probably was one of the last people, probably one of the only people in my generation that I knew that listened to that kind of stuff,
Probably.
So I got indoctrinated with that, But now you see people that don't even have that patriotic bend, don't have that type of thing going on, that are like waking up and being like,
yeah, that's sad.
That's sad. Going on?
That's sad, man.
What is going? Because it doesn't take a rocket scientist to look around you and see that things are just, we're losing our identity. And that's concerning. That's worrisome.
Well, that's what I say. We're losing our culture, and it's being taken away slowly, a little piece at a time. We weren't going to talk politics.
Yeah, but
did I tell you guys about those two sisters that came into the control room? And then 2 weeks later, their mom came in.
But we cut you off before you said Grandma was next.
I guess that means you don't want to hear about their dad, do you?
Josh, you're always really insightful about this. Why? What'd you say? What was his word?
Dumpster.
Because every institution in America is corrupt to its core. And I think we're fed the illusion of freedom, mainly because we have so many choices on Amazon.com. And I will say, to some degree, we do have the most freedom of anywhere in the world, but it's very quickly, especially after COVID, post-COVID, our freedoms are very quickly being taken. And once you give government or people power, they do not relinquish it without a fight.
Yeah, government is great at making laws. It never takes those laws away.
No, it doesn't.
No, once it's just, well, like that. What is the New Mexico governor just closing down the Second Amendment? She was going to take away gun rights and stuff, and they blew her out of the water. And that's the only time I've ever seen somebody say, if we let her do this, that's just a stepping stone.
Precedence needs to be in the forefront of everybody's mind now.
It never is.
No, and especially not during COVID. You give it's fine when it's the person that you like in office, but if you give that power to government, that government has that no matter who's in office.
Right. Well, and right now, what's happening with our orange little nitro, our orange gummy bear with the bad hair. What's happening with him when the pendulum swings the other direction. That's going to happen.
They'll be singing a different story.
They absolutely will.
Interesting.
That's concerning to me. That's like a banana republic. That's what banana republics do.
Yeah.
I listen. I understand people have a lot of opinions on Donald Trump, but goodness gracious, you don't jail your political opponents.
I love the guy.
Yeah,
And what's wrong with making America great again?
not a damn.
Tell
thing.
me that.
So, I want to hear the youngest person in the room explanation why you think it's
I
bad.
could sit here for 3 hours and talk about it.
Try to be as succinct as possible. Give a sentence on why. Make like a high level. Maybe what's the worst thing? I guess.
My generation.
Wow.
My generation is the worst I've ever seen.
I think it's my generation because we're to blame.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Damn it, Jimmy.
I know it's.
man,
it actually might be my fault personally because I played Jane's Addiction over the top at the Apostolic Assembly. I limited free speech.
That was blasphemy right there.
Damn it, Jimmy.
You know, but I will say this.
I'll have to commend you for saying that, man.
Yeah.
No,
That was really a good,
and I think all of
straightforward
us.
answer.
I think every one of us in here probably has that same answer, because I think our generation did it. I think your generation did it. I think Josh's generation did it. I mean, I think that there's been a stair step down this weekend. And why I said we're free. I will tell you, I don't have a lot of self-control if I see my loved ones get attacked. And I watched the 9/11, all the footage of that's been remastered in 4K this weekend.
me too, dude.
And I will tell you, had I been in the Oval Office, I would have turned the entire world to glass.
Oh, no shitting, man.
The entire world.
Really?
And that's why I'm not in those kind of roles, because
There would have been no sand at all.
there wouldn't. There was like, oh, you got the wrong report. It was actually this country. Pff, gone. Anyone else? I mean, literally.
Yeah.
I know we had this slight debate before. Sometimes violence is the only answer.
That is true.
I agree with that.
And sometimes I think men, and I do like this quote, what makes you a man is being capable of great violence, but having the restraint not to use it.
Yeah.
And I know that's not a popular opinion today.
Well,
But
that's virtue. That's
this-
real virtue.
Thus,
This
Brazilian
toxic-
Jiu-Jitsu.
this toxic masculinity bullshit, man, that gets to me.
Oh, I was just going on
I mean,
with my son about this before I came up here today.
But I tell you,
I'm pretty toxic.
one thing,
masculine.
I'm toxic as hell, man. I reek.
the Avenger over there.
But one of the things is evil can be successful if good men do nothing.
That's right. And I think that's the critical thing. In the face of evil, you have to be capable of taking any action to defend from evil. And you have to have the wisdom to be able to discern when something's evil, not just inconvenient.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think today
There's a lot of evil out there.
And I think today a lot of people like to label inconvenience as evil.
Sure.
To make themselves feel better or feel like a victim.
Yeah.
And I
Or
think
uncomfortability
that's exactly
is
right.
evil.
And I think sometimes people try to feel special by finding people to hate them so they can feel special.
Right.
For whatever.
They want to be a victim. You know, it's like
it goes back to the kid in school who was misbehaving because they didn't get attention at home. They were misbehaving for attention. Any attention is attention. It doesn't matter if it's good, bad, ugly.
Well, I think that's probably one of the reasons that you see a lot of kids leaving home as Robert and going to school and being Roberta. It's a lot of attention.
Oh,
you know,
there's definitely the component of that.
I could name about 15 examples at Mitchell High School. I'm not going to name names.
No,
but
don't.
But am I right?
Yes, absolutely.
I think you're right. I think it's a social contagion.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, and the thing which you got to be 21 to drink, and you got to be 21 to smoke. But you can go to school in some states, and you and your teacher can decide to whack your pee-pee off and grow boobs and not tell your parents.
Yeah,
What?
not good.
Where is that? I mean, I don't understand that. They ought to at least, before they start indoctrinating these kids with this stuff, they ought to at least be old enough to be able to make a responsible decision. And even when they get old enough to make a responsible decision, I'm not so sure it's a responsible decision. But
No, but if you're an adult and you want to do that, more power to you.
Sure,
Godspeed.
that's fine.
But also, don't
Best.
lie to kids and tell them that things like these chemicals that they're giving them
oh
for
yeah, the
hormone blockers
puberty blockers
are
and stuff like
reversible. They're not reversible. Those are the same drugs that are used to chemically castrate sex offenders. So this nonsense. you know.
$1 billion business.
Yeah, and that makes me.
$1 billion
I mean, and that goes back to like the medical industry.
Big pharma.
that. Speaking of Oliver Anthony, or is that Anthony Oliver? That boy pulled a slick one on us, boys.
He did.
I think he did.
Think so?
Yeah, because I got in touch with WV Radio and was gonna say, I said, well, I'm in Spruce Pine, blah blah blah, and yeah, geez, he was in Spruce Pine. I thought, I'd like to have him on the show and stuff. Well, he's not interested in, he's not interested in the big time and all this stuff. The next week, I saw him on Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
I mean, what the hell? What are you doing on Joe Rogan if you don't want any infamy?
Well, I think if you're gonna go on anybody's show,
It would
It'd be Joe Rogan.
Gonna go.
Yeah, it would be Joe Rogan.
Go on Joe Rogan. It's the biggest podcast on earth.
What I do love about that kid, Mann, is that he plays a not very popular style of music.
Mm-hmm.
He's not incredibly talented at it, but he told a story.
Oh,
because
yeah.
the internet, everybody heard it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Immediately. And what I love about that is no amount of money in Hollywood or big music corporations are able to do what he did.
Right.
No, that's
Now,
true.
if I had a few things of advice for him, I would tell him this: if you don't want to sign a record deal, don't. I 100% support that.
He
Tell
did.
Oh yeah, it's changing.
He did.
He should have just said it's $100,000 a show, cash money up front before I play. Hand me a bag, I'll play and leave. And don't do any merchandising, nothing. Just play for cash. And he's young enough; he could play every night of the year for a couple years and be done.
Well, he's doing pretty good for somebody that got their GED at Mayland, I think.
Yeah.
Just off streams alone, he's making $50,000 a day.
Oh hell yeah!
Just off streams alone.
Easy.
And I think he signed he held up. They offered him initially like an $8 million deal or something.
Yeah.
He got a $100 million deal. So the kid's smart.
Yeah, he was, like I say, he pulled.
I don't blame him for that.
I don't
Listen,
either.
if somebody is offering you
He knew.
$100 million,
He knew, or his man, he knew, or somebody knew that there was going to be another offer coming down the pike besides that $8 million.
But you know what?
I'm disappointed.
What he's done-
I would have waited
Hang
till
on,
the second
hang on,
album
hang
before
on.
he signed.
Hang on. Let me bring some hope back to you, Jimmy. So, did you see what he did? Canceling the show because the ticket prices were too high.
I did see that.
This kid is more punk rock, and he's not even rock.
He's punk
than-
country,
than any punk
He's
rock
crock
artist
pot.
I've ever seen.
punk croc.
Yeah, and was just honest about it on
Yeah.
social media. It was like, hey,
Yeah.
I was under the impression that we were doing this.
Yep.
They're trying to sell backstage passes and I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. I like that about him.
Yeah,
I
Me too.
respected that a lot. I respected that a lot. He's coming to Marion in October.
Yeah.
Sold out.
It is.
All right.
So-
Oliver Anthony on the show with Mountain Man.
God, yes.
Okay.
Simulcast on the Mountain Man radio.
Yep.
It works for me, ladies.
Let's
and
do
gentlemen.
it.
All right.
I'm
We'll
ready.
try to make it happen.
Now, all we got
Why
to do is find out who's booking it in Marion, and then.
Find out who his agent is. Get a
It's
hold
down
of
there
him.
next to
I
the
know a
spillway.
guy. We can figure it out.
All right, Jimmy knows a
I can
guy.
always find a guy. I
fine.
always
Jimmy's
know a
good for
guy.
that.
I
Hey,
can
yo.
get to the bottom of some
Yo, I
things.
know a guy. Okay.
I can make some stuff happen. Just saying.
I know a guy who knows a guy.
Yeah.
Dude, seriously, this guy is more punk rock than Rage Against the Machine ever was.
That's the truth.
He is.
I think that brain fart.
It happens.
It does.
Brilliant.
That's
Well,
where
we
you need the
to-
sound effects where we have the crickets.
Right. Exactly. We got to get a soundboard. So we got to order a
It's
soundboard
time.
now.
We're 9:55ish.
Yep,
Yep.
let's call it.
Let's get it.
Well,
Listen, I didn't know this. I saw in your front of your car, Vietnam veteran. Appreciate your service, sir.
that was my brother-in-law.
Oh, really?
Yeah. This is Semper Fi. That's my father.
Really?
Nice.
He was in Okinawa, Iwo Jima, and the veterans. You can't say enough about them.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate our veterans.
Matter of fact,
That's why we're free. Just
Yep.
saying.
Bringing it full.
Some gave all. Some gave all.
Yeah.
And
Some
Yeah.
give in suffering every single day.
still. Yeah.
Buddy, that was just going back over the 9/11 stuff. I also did that, Jimmy.
I can't. It's so hard. If you've not been to New York, everyone should go to the memorial, and it's hard to even talk about it.
I just can't watch it over again, man.
It's harsh.
I didn't realize how it affects me. Me and Josh, the first time we ever did a podcast together, we did it on 9/11 a year ago.
Yep.
Exactly a year ago.
Really?
Yes, we did, and it got taken off of YouTube.
Twice.
So we started out of the gate hot, but I can't watch it. Honestly, I can't watch it. I didn't realize how emotionally it affected me.
Yeah.
And I think probably it's not because that was like directly connected to me. It's because how the world changed.
Yeah.
We started out this podcast talking about like the time stopped at 9/11.
Oh, it did.
And I don't think we've ever fully recovered from it.
It definitely changed things. You know, it fixed New York for a while.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, that was an interesting thing before and after. And it's kind of a different thing now, watching the rapid decline back into basically Times Square is 1978 Times Square all over again. And that's not a positive.
Yeah.
But it's that the city was changed positively
For a little while.
for a while, and the country for a while, pulled together.
There was a breath. We took a big breath.
Well,
Yeah.
and got going again.
We had that same phenomena right at the beginning of COVID. Right at the beginning
We
of
did.
COVID, we had that same phenomena happen. Because
It just persisted too long.
Yeah, we were like, "Oh shit, what is this? We don't know. This is really bad."
Well,
And
if
then,
we do COVID 2.0, we're just we may as well just kiss it.
I refuse.
I
I
refuse.
think the majority do.
Yeah, I do too.
I refuse too, and I'm just hoping that that everybody out there is not sheeple.
I can tell you, I will not comply.
No, I'm not going to.
I will not comply. I'm not doing that again.
I'm not
doing
taking-
it again.
I'm
I'm
not
not doing it
taking-
again. I'm not having it hurt my kids.
However, on mountainmanradio.com on our merchandise page, I do have a mask. Seriously, I don't know how it got there, but I've got a mask on there, and it's got rat fink and a hot rod with 2 pot leaves on the side.
Oh, that's what I'm ordering if it comes back around.
That's fine.
I would wear a mask just to be able to wear that. But anyway, don't forget that's mountainmanradio.com.
Yep.
Yes.
It's in the chat. I'm going to post it again.
And thank you guys for having me here.
Enjoyed it.
Man,
I want to do this again, man.
Yeah,
this is
we will.
fun.
You want to give us a radio out?
Well, that's it. All we can say is a cheery good evening to you, and y'all have a great night. And don't forget, put that Vaseline on the doorknob so the kids can't get in the room.